Hello, welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. Today, we're going to be checking out a Patreon picks. One of my patrons selected a song that told me what to listen to, and I checked the song out no matter what. No questions asked. Let's see. Connor Rodenfels said he'd really like me to watch Transcendence by Gorod. Gorod. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Yes. If the song is too long, let me know. It is not too long, but it is definitely a longer song. I think this one's sitting at 15. 1521. So yeah, definitely not on the short side. But so what we do on this channel, we check out music. So far, nobody's really suggested anything ridiculously long, so I think we're good on that. All right, so let's check out Transcendence. Transcendence, y'all. Alright, so yeah, that's a playful little riff. Nice double bass kick in there to change up the feel of it a little bit. I like that little as it faded out. Interesting. Interesting note choice on this harmony. Ooh. Oh, nice bass line. Alright, we got some layered growls. Very cool rhythmic synergy between the guitars and the lyrics. Very tight playing. I just realized that is a very clean triplet feel. Let's go. The mix right here is a little bit interesting. The guitars are very prominent. Very cool chord choices. The bass is working on a different time field than the rest of the band. It's really throwing me off. Very cool though. Definitely an atmospheric band. Very cool hocket going on right here. I don't get to use that word too often in metal. Yeah. Interesting time signature stuff going on there. Polyrhythms hitting up in the drums. Now I notice a lot of these guitar lines are doubled up with harmony. Do they have two guitarists doing this all the time, or is that a double double tracking? Because this would require a very tight performance to be done live. Yeah, back to the triplet feel. That's a cool riff. Wild blast beats. This song is just insane. I gotta see a drum cam of at least this section. Those fills were ridiculous. Very cool. Yeah, give that bass a little bit of spotlight. A little bit of swing eights there on the cymbals. Yeah, that was cool. These chord textures continue to just get me. They are interesting. Yeah, this band, at least this song, just the atmosphere is perfect. Yeah. I do wish those sections would stick around a little longer, but I love when they come around. Okay, so that's a really cool use of pedal tone. They haven't used it pretty much at all. And when they're employing it now, it stands out. Oh, the Hawkins back, man. That little hi-hat play going on there right before they came in. Really good drum line right here. Using it as an instrument more than a metronome. Yeah. Real great rhythmic synergy going on. And the bass is actually laying down the metronome here, which is real cool. Real cool use of time signature here. Yeah. This is definitely how this song needs to end. Lots of layers, lots of really cool composition techniques going on. I mean, it's an unusual ending, but I do not envy them being put in the position of having to write an ending for this song. It is cool that they're using a lot of the same ideas uh, from the guitar bit in this part. Well, that is a guitar, but you know what I mean. Oh, and it's a fade out. Well, you know, a tiny blemish on a perfect song. I guess I'll have to deal with that. Okay, so the song's called Transcendence. That was a transcendental experience. That was just holy cow. So yeah, I have a new what is going yeah, that's a new thing for me. I need groovy metal in my life, like hyper groovy metal. Um, I don't even know. The cool thing is, a lot of metal that we've done lately has been really focused on the low end. You know, we down tune, we bump up the low end on our amps and cabinets. We get, you know, these hard, heavy sounds, especially when we get into um, some of the black metal and I don't even know, just the real heavy stuff that we've done that just hasn't really been for me. That's kind of what I think of when I think of metal. You know, even you know, Periphery is one of my favorite bands, and they do employ a lot of the mids and highs, but their breakdowns are still focused on the lows, and that's kind of what metal to me is, and that's why I don't really gravitate towards a lot of metal. I'm not a real big fan of focusing on sort of a single tone. And this band, I think they get me. And that's a weird thing to say. I think I need to take that back. I get what the band's doing, and I'm glad they're doing it. Yeah, they've never talked to me. They don't know what I want out of metal. um, so much of the song, especially when you look at the guitar work, is focused on the mids to the highs. Um, like I said, we there was only one point that I can really remember where they were focusing on low notes, and that was when they used the pedal technique, where they repeatedly play a low note to kind of create space and emphasize the accented higher notes. And that only happened once. We really didn't hear a lot of the lower end of the guitars in this song, and I love that. It's very refreshing. Um, And they also chose to always be moving. And that is going to be, I think that's going to be a divisive thing. I wouldn't say that I always enjoy that. There are definitely bits where some of the riffs started to sound samey because they were using a lot of the same ideas and techniques to create them. It's a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs, very close to your you know your bass note, your root note, um, and a lot of their riffs are based around that single idea. And I don't know if I could listen to an entire album like that. I don't know if that's their MO, if they do that all the time, or if it's just this song. But I really enjoyed it as a bit of, you know, something different, something that I don't necessarily hear a lot, you know, from what we've listened to so far. And it also helps to kind of create this. I've mentioned before, when we have songs that go through lots of different musical ideas, they don't really have a verse or a chorus or a bridge. It's just we keep moving from one idea to the next, sort of in a rhapsody style. Um, that a lot of bands just kind of jump around and they don't really have that thread to kind of connect everything. And these guys really have a specific tone and playing style that ties and binds all of these separate sections. And it's a double edged sword because, on the one, you get a very cohesive song. Every bit of the song fits with the rest of it. On the other end of the spectrum, though, you also get a song that ends up sounding a little samey because they're using the same core concepts throughout the entire song. And you're either going to love that or you're not. I don't really think there's anybody in the middle who is just kind of like, meh, it's there and it was okay. It wasn't detrimental, but it didn't excite me. I don't think there's going to be many people there. You're either going to really enjoy the fact that they use these little hammer-on ideas throughout the entire song, or it's just not going to be your cup of tea, and that's fine. But at least it gives them a thread that can kind of bind the entire song together and give you a pathway to go from start to finish. You're not just being thrown around. You're walking on a path through this story, through the song. Um, so I really enjoyed that. Um, and I mentioned it at the beginning, but a lot of these riffs are very playful in their rhythmic delivery. Um, and I think a lot of that comes into play because of how close a lot of these notes sound and the fact that they're typically always returning to some sort of bass, and you're getting this little like bouncing kind of feeling where you're going to a note and coming back and then going to a different note and coming back. And there's always this root note that you can always return to, and it creates this little bouncing feel. And then when you mix that with their rhythmic delivery, where they might sit on a note for a couple, you get dun 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 dun, something like that. And it has this playfulness to it. It's bouncy, it's fun. These are weird adjectives for metal music, but you gotta learn how to go. You gotta learn how to live with that, man. If those words offend you because I called metal playful, you're in the wrong place. Um, and you know what? If it doesn't and you like that, well, you're in the right place. Subscribe. uh, all right. Anyways, but yeah, there's a real playfulness in all the guitar work. Something else that they utilize throughout the entire song is their double guitar lines. Almost every single guitar riff is harmonized. And it creates, well, first of all, it's harmonized interestingly. Usually you'd go with a fifth or an octave of some sort. And I'm not sure, I don't think it was the same distance in notes for every section, but it was always an interesting distance. I don't think I ever heard anything that was just like a straight, a generic third. It's just, and then that mixed with their chord choices created really interesting musical textures in all the parts. Um, there were a couple that hit a more traditional sound, uh, and styles, like, no, not styles. They hit more traditional sounds, but for the most part, they have a very unique idea of what harmonies and chords sound like. Um, they definitely use the entire toolbox as far as chords to go, chords to pick, and note distances for harmonies and stuff like that. They do a lot of really cool stuff. I mentioned quite a few times. I'm like, dang, that was that's a unique chord. That's a unique sounds, a unique quality that they just played right there. And that's I wish I had a better ear for that kind of stuff and just point out, hey, that's a you know a a seventh with a whatever, that's a Phrygian chord with a raised seventh. I really wish I could point that out, but my ear, I don't have that kind of ear training. I guess you can get trained for that. I mean, it's just like any other muscle. You just got to flex it until you get better with it. I don't know. It's just never been a forte of mine, though, picking out chord qualities. I've tried. I really have, and it does not come easy for me. But I can tell you when they're unique. I can tell you when they're interesting, when they're not something that's commonly used. I can kind of feel out the chords, so to speak, but I can't name them. Um, But yeah, these guys do some really cool stuff with chord qualities and note distances and stuff like that. Um, and I pointed this out, I think twice. Pocket. Pocket is when you have multiple instruments and you've given them all the melody line. They all have the melody line, but they all have different parts of it. So, say you got a trumpet, a trombone, and a violin, and you give the trumpet the first four notes, and then the trombone the next three notes, and then the violin the next five notes. In the end, you have the same, melodic sentence. And when they all play it in a row, well, if you put it out on paper, you're going to see just, the straight line of music. And when they play it, you're going to get the full thing. But the interesting thing is that you're going to get multiple textures in it, which is unique to metal, especially because usually you have your lead guitarist who does, his melodic lines, or you have your singer doing a lead melody or something like that. And you don't really have this broken up sounding melody because you're getting these different texture sounds. And that's what Hocket kind of aims to do, is to add interesting textures where it sounds like the melody has broken because of it, but it's actually amplified and brought to the attention of the listener because it's done. And there are a couple of times where the two guitarists were doing that. One might play two of they're quick runs. And one might play two notes and then one note over here and then three over there and two over there and then five. And they just keep going back and forth. Really cool stuff. Like I said, you don't really see it much in metal, and the fact that not only the fact that it's present, which itself was enough for me to be like, oh, dang, they did that. But also just the speed that they're doing it is rather impressive. The whole I mentioned earlier, I asked if this was done with two live guitars or if it was one guitarist doing a backing track. And I honestly don't know which one would be worse to do live. I mean, the two guitars would have to be a phenomenally tight pair of guitarists, because the whole song requires them to be ultra precise and in time with each other. There's a lot of quick staccato notes throughout this track, and anybody who attacks early, releases late, it's going to make it sound muddy. It's really easy for any part of this song to sound muddy. Alternatively, though, if you have a backing track, then you have one person trying to play in time with the music, and while you only have one person who can create failure, like one point of failure, I mean, it still puts a lot of pressure on the one guy. So, I mean, either way, that's a rough situation to be in as a performer. On the composition side, it's just beautiful. As a composer, I would do that. It's up to you musicians to figure out how you're going to do that. But I know what I wanted when I wrote the music. But these guys wrote the music and then played it, so they're even more insane. They're masochists. Um, yeah, yeah. So that Hocket just caught me off guard, and I'm glad they did it, especially since so much of the song was two guitars. Um, yeah, so that's cool. And the singing didn't really bother me, though I completely see. I used to think you hear this a lot. At least I hear it a lot, more so in metal than any other genre. The want or requests for instrumental tracks. And I've never understood that. I'm like, the song was written with the lyrics in mind. Uh, you know, why would you want to strip out a quarter or a fifth of the song when it was intentionally placed there? You're basically telling the composer that you have a better idea of the song in your head and it requires this entire instrument to be removed. But I kind of get it on this one. Like the vocals, I don't know. They were rare. I don't know what the story was. I don't know what he was saying. I don't know how the lyrics worked into it. But as far as what they added musically, they were kind of sparse to begin with, and I don't think they added much because they were low in the mix also. Um, they're very forgettable for me. And I think a piece without the vocals for this specific song, I would actually enjoy equally. I don't want to say I'd enjoy it more, but I'd enjoy it equally. And that's about as close as I can get to saying I'd like an instrumental version of the song. So I kind of understand where some people come from when they say this. I'm kind of understanding where that mindset is because I don't really feel the vocals were important to this song. And I've heard that before, that in these harsher, this isn't really a harsh metal song, but it's definitely on the harder end. Anyways, in some of these metal songs that are just the more brutal ones, especially the one that sticks out to me, I remember a comment from Meshuggah where I mentioned specifically that the vocals were really low in the mix. And I got quite a few comments saying that the vocals weren't supposed to be emphasized at all, and they were more so adding um, like rhythmic texture to what the drums and guitar were doing. And that's where I started to see this notion that the vocals were not important. Well, at least maybe not as important as the other instruments. And I never really got it until this song. And this song, I can see it. The vocals to me are not really important in this one. At least not important, at least not as important. That word's getting real weird to say. As what's going on in the guitars and the bass and the drums and all the more musical aspects, because a lot of the singing, I think there's one section with clean, and I would probably leave that in just for the texture of it. But the majority of it is a rough growl that I just don't think really added much, and it was so sparse to begin with. But yeah, this I could do with more of this. That groovy, playful metal. Cause I tell you, that bass and drum, that was some groovy stuff, man. I don't know if you noticed, I didn't do much headbanging. It was more like a bob and like a little bit of like shimmy and some dancing. This is some groovy stuff. All right. That's yeah. I could do with more music like this. So actually, with that, hit me up with more music like this. Does Gorod have? Is this their typical thing? Was this maybe more of a one-off? I don't know. Hit me up with that, and also hit me up with any music bands that are like this, where they're not so concerned about the low end and being loud and brutal so much as just having a good time. Heavy metal, having a good time, having a good heavy metal. I don't know. I don't know what the genre is called, but I enjoy it. So let me know down in the comments for stuff like that. Let me know if you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it, if it wasn't heavy enough for you, if it was too long for you, whatever. Let me know in the comments. Also, while you're down there, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell. You can check out my Twitter or my Patreon. Links are in the description for those who would like to check that stuff out. And yeah, I think I'm doing a video tomorrow. Yesterday I said I didn't know. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do it. And I'm saying it. I'm gonna make myself do it. That'd be rude if I'll be like maybe and then I don't, because then people are expecting it. Um, so yeah, expect one tomorrow. It'll be a personal pick where I like Brian's choice. Brian's choice Sundays. Sundays, Brian. I don't think I'm getting anything out of that one. I gotta pick a cool title for that. Anyways, though, yeah, expect one tomorrow, same time as usual, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC. And until then, you guys have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, and stay safe out there.